Okay,
All
well,
right.
now we have to actually start episode 3.
Well, how was your week, guys?
I do want to say, I don't know if anybody noticed it. It had always been my plan to reverse the episode 1 so that the combat intense part was at the front. So we would start with like a dramatic action
Oh,
sequence.
like an in media ray.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then put the flashback part at the end. I think it worked pretty well in the final
Oh, is that, did
edit.
it? Okay. Did somebody say, "Yep, this is me"? But how did I get here?
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
No one said that, and if I'm lucky, no one ever will.
You're just dying to use that record scratch sound effect. We know.
I've used it in one video before and done that part, and people were like, "Dude, that was so cringe." That's why I know never do it again.
This is a '90s game though, so everything is retro. So
Exactly.
yeah. I've decided, by the way, that because there's a whole bunch of gear which obviously doesn't exist in the system. So I've decided that one thing that Cassandra has come to the island with is a personal Discman, which has currently got Triple J's Volus 100 1999 on it. So
So does every episode credits roll with a different song?
Yeah, just
Like a
like
different
Lost or
version?
Stargate Universe,
Yeah. Yeah, different song playing.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, I did look up Triple J's Volus 100 from 1999. It wasn't a great selection.
Mm.
That's too bad. There were a bunch of really good songs in the 90s. So
Yeah, it's the problem is with picking like a one by an Australian radio station is like something like 40% of the content has to be Australian artists.
I see. Spotlights, flares, car headlamps, all of these things give the gathering a eerie presence. One of tension, militancy, vibrancy. A man wearing a gray suit and a megaphone steps onto the back of a 8-barreled French SAM launcher. And in fluent French, which I'm not going to speak, translated into English by me, he says, "This was our victory here. From this place, you and I will seize the center of this country for you, for all of you. And soon, as we travel south and liberate your comrades, we will turn the institutions of our enemies into the alliances and bastions of your cause. Soon, the thrust of our vehicles and our might and your people will make their way south into the hearts of the universities and convert the students there to the cause of the workers." And we see hands being thrust up. There's a lot of pistols or short machetes. The crowd that this person is speaking to is not Chinese as this man, but instead a mix of Austronesian, Pacific Islander, Polynesian, and very occasionally a sort of European French white man in the audience. We're looking over people wearing jeans or overalls, loose work shirts, the occasional hard hat. These are the common people of the north part of this island of New Scotland. These are miners and blue collar workers, mostly men who have gathered here. They have pistols stuck in their drawers. They have the occasional bolt action rifle. As we advance, we will take the airfields, and with them, more gifts from the motherland will arrive so that the workers across the world can reinforce, resupply, and reunite. Take these, the gifts of a grateful ally, back to your neighborhoods to restore order. As the man with the megaphone gestures, a helicopter suddenly descends with a spotlight on diesel generators, large desalination packets. There is a Toyota Hilux N40 with an AA-52 machine gun on the back and a pair of Hyundai Porters with American machine guns on the back of it. In between the three of these vehicles is a Renault Maxity, which is like a big utility truck, which seems to have been converted into a sort of mobile radio truck slash command vehicle. The PLA security advisors that I have brought with me will move amongst your people. We will assist you. We are not here to order you around. We are all brothers and sisters in arms. One people with no nation. There's a bunch of cheering as everyone throws their hands in the air again. The man steps down from the vehicle, and we get a very clear shot of businessman Jacques Chow as he steps into the light once more, perfectly silhouetted against a billboard in the background, which is him doing the same gesture, adjusting his jacket that says, Jacques Chow Homes, bringing the future to you. A Chinese man wearing a lab coat and glasses steps near him and begins speaking to him in Chinese. The name tag says Huang, and he says, Nan, we can't be speaking Chinese around these people. They need to trust us. Use your French. And the scientist says, yeah, okay, Mr. Chow, I need more people working at the dig site. If you want me to get that for you, we need to be willing to play ball. And Chow says, take as many of the security advisors as you need, Huang, and whatever else you need. Just get it done. We cut sideways. There is an elderly French man arguing with his daughter-in-law and his son. He's saying, unbelievable. We can't just keep waiting for these people. They're going to destroy the vehicle. Our family has worked for years to keep this place alive. Just absolutely ridiculous that my younger brother would betray me like this. And the woman is like, no, please, father. And he goes, don't please father me. I've heard this from you before. I say that when they come back, we put our foot down and they broke the ramp. Do you know what it takes to buy one of those loading ramps? I had to get them special installed. As he is ranting, 3 people come out of the darkness, guns drawn. You tell me what the 3 of you do as you approach this family standing at the edge of the docks.
I think when you ended off the show last time, you indicated that the woman had already started screaming when we came out of the darkness.
Yes, she starts screaming now. Ah! As 3 people come out of the darkness with guns.
Yeah, I think we start screaming at them. Get down on the floor. Get down on the floor. Keep your hands where I can see them. Down on the floor.
I mean, I'll direct them I'll say it in French to quiet, get down. You won't be hurt if you comply.
Okay. The woman and the man get down immediately, but the older man instead looks at you, looks like his face goes red. He gets ready to fight with you. And then his right arm comes up and he goes like this. And then he goes down on one knee and then he falls forward on his face.
I think it's...
Now there's more screaming as the 2 people who are on the ground watch this man collapse.
Luke, first aid.
Yeah. I'll move around so that my back isn't to the other 2, and I'll I'll sling my weapon, and I will start rolling him over and conducting my signs for life. And I suspect a heart attack, but let's see what I've got.
Okay, I need a medical aid.
Rightio. So I've got my med kit with me on my backpack.
That's good.
Which gives let's have a look here.
All I'm saying is I bet the players did not expect their first roll of this episode was going to be medical aid for a heart attack.
So +2 modifier for medical aid rolls.
Okay.
This isn't one where I roll on the object, so go back to medical aid, +2. Oh, wait, actually, no, it's in there. Yep, I'm a combat medic, a field surgeon, and I've got the doctor's medical kit. I assume I can't stack my personal medical kit against the doctor's medical kit.
No.
That would make sense. And let's roll.
Okay. That's 2 successes. Do you feel sufficient with that number, or do you want to push?
I think it should be sufficient.
You've got a 50-50 chance of getting at least one more success.
Ooh, 50-50.
Yeah. Because you got a D12. So effectively all happens is you re-roll any dice which didn't succeed. So you re-roll the second D12.
All right, I like it. I'll push. Now, that'll cost me a strain.
Yeah, it'll apply automatically.
Stress.
Stress, yeah. Foundry will apply automatically.
Nope.
It didn't improve it.
It's all right. It's a stressful situation.
Okay, so you've pushed yourself on an empathy roll, right?
Yes. Empathy-based roll.
So you do take a point of stress then.
Yeah. For some reason, it applied a hit rather than stress.
That's unusual.
No, the hit was from me
Riding the bike.
Yeah. eating gravel. Gravel on the bike.
Don't hit the plus because you just increase your stress capacity on. Yeah. So take it back down again, but click on one of the boxes to color it in. There you go.
Got it.
You give him aspirin immediately, start CPR. Several of the other things that you might do for a civilian, like call 911, are of little to no value with communications completely not working. You
Especially in
quickly
a country
check.
where 911 isn't the emergency number.
Okay. I don't know what the Australian or French versions of heart attack procedure are. I'll admit it. I am shooting from the hip here with my knowledge of American 911 knowledge. I should just say call emergency number. Does that make you feel better, James? And I'll
Yep.
tell you what, I won't even edit all of this out so everyone knows that I got it totally wrong and you corrected me. Does that make you feel better?
Definitely.
Okay. You know that calling the emergency number would be useless, but after a quick check, you manage to locate some of the nitroglycerin that is on his person and get him his medication as well. He could use a hospital. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's pale, sweaty, clammy, his blood pressure's low, and his pulse is erratic. But other than that, he's as stable as a person could be in a situation where he was literally frightened nearly to death. What are the other two of you doing during the tense minutes that this takes place?
All right. So I guess I'm just probably covering the other two or covering around to make sure no one else has like sort of responded to the screams and the sounds, etc.
Okay. No one responds.
There was a small building they were in front of, like a booking office type thing.
There is, yes. There is the ferry office and the personal home of these individuals.
Okay, so have a quick look inside, see if there's anyone in there, and see if they've got a radio.
The office is mostly open, and by mostly open, I don't mean if there's like windows. I mean in that tropical way where there aren't windows and it's open air as much as possible on a sort of teak wood build exterior. You take a quick look around. There doesn't appear to be anyone else in here. The in their office is locked.
Okay.
What would you like to do now? I feel like that has brought everyone to the same timeline.
Okay. I'll ask them in French. Do you speak English? Parlez-vous anglais?
The woman says, yes, I do. I speak English.
We're not here to harm you. Can we get your friend inside?
That's my father. I'm like, yes, please. Are you with the Canardians?
We're
Not determined yet.
No, that's it. Yeah, we're here from Australia. We are here to help.
Okay. She looks at the other man again, they're both lying flat on the ground and they're significant PC glancing towards each other. And she gives a nod towards him and he says, okay, yes, please get my father inside.
I think that a maximum of one of us should be helping to carry him and the other one should help to carry, right? Rather than like two of us taking our guns down to carry him. So.
I mean, the two of them will both work together to drag him inside if you want to cover them.
Well, I think one of us can probably help.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as one of us is covering them and one of us is covering the scene.
Okay. The son helps his father, gets him by the torso, gestures to somebody to grab the legs, try to keep him as flat as possible. Get him inside on a big map table that shows the local area. And, there's a little historical, like, this is how long this ferry's been in service, and here's why it's important to the local people. Put a man on top of it so he has somebody's flat out of the open air to lay down on.
Is there a line of photos that goes from like old school black and white of like every generation standing in front,
of course,
along the wall to today?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it like the one on the Axiom where they get fatter and fatter every time?
The oldest one does.
Is their map better than the map we had at Cyrus's place?
No, Cyrus's map is, I hate to say military grade for the implications on it, but it is military grade. And the map you're looking at is sort of a cartoonish,
Okay,
touristy. Yes.
Yep. All right. We're here to help maintain, to help secure order. Things are going. It's not just here that the things like the power and that is out. We're here to try and help.
So the woman translates into French for her husband and her father-in-law, and then she turns to you.
If only one of them speaks. If only one of them speaks
English.
English. Then what I'll do is assume everything I say in French and then English, so that the others can hear as well.
So she speaks out loud in English to the group while also doing the same thing you're doing in French.
Yeah.
So, welcome to your translation. We're going to skip the part where we tell everybody else in the non-English part, though.
Yeah.
She says very carefully, our neighbors in the north are part of some sort of uprising. A number of men came by earlier today and demanded that we turn over control of our family's ferry service to them. The ferry was on this side, so we felt comfortable saying no to them. We knew they might come because it's been days since they arrived. They felt comfortable enough coming because they had taken his, and she gestures to her father, his younger brother hostage on the other side. We have a system in place to prevent someone from just outrightly stealing the ferry. Sometimes teenagers get it in their head to mess with the ferry or try to cut it loose of its cabling and joyride it in the river. It requires a sort of complicated setup process, but also rather than have the ramps on the ferry, the ramps are on the docks and they have to come down and lock into place to prevent anyone who doesn't know how to use it from using it. But it means that there has to be someone on both sides, which is why my uncle-in-law has been living on the North Bank. But they have him. They tried to drive some sort of large military vehicle onto the ramp, even though we were telling them it doesn't hold that kind of weight, and the ramp snapped. I think that it's done permanent damage. And then she has a quick conversation with her husband, and she says, yes, my husband confirms that the ramp is probably permanently damaged and will need to be replaced. We're worried because it sounds like they're going to come back with smaller, lighter vehicles and force their way across once again. What we want to do is to bring the ferry over here so that they would need to swim across. But even if they swim across, I think we have to disable the ferry somehow. But they have his uncle, his brother. Can you help us?
I think we can. Yes. Are there no boats like small boats to cross?
We don't keep such boats. Obviously, we can just call to the other side normally, but some of our neighbors down the road to the east have small rowing boats, canoes and such.
So it looks like there's no one on that side right now.
Yes, that's correct.
How long ago did they leave?
Hours ago, before the sun set. We don't know whether they'll be back in 10 minutes or 10 hours or in a week. They just shouted that they would return.
Look over the river. How deep and how fast is it moving?
It's deeper than you'd want to get a vehicle in. The speed is somewhat placid.
So it wouldn't be impossible to swim over.
No, it's only about 500 feet across.
Yeah, but probably not with full kit.
Probably not with full kit.
Just a couple of questions about this military vehicle that you saw. How big was it? Was it like the size of a car, the size of a truck?
Bigger than a truck, much bigger. I think it was a tank. And then she can see that her husband begins speaking animatedly. And she says, my husband says it's not a tank. It was some sort of infantry fighting vehicle, which is very different from a tank.
Did it have windows, or was it like only slats to look through?
Is there a role to identify vehicles? I don't know whether it would be something like recon or command.
I'd say recon would be the closest skill to it. Yeah, recon or tech.
I will take a tech on this to see if you can understand what he's trying to communicate through a translation.
Yeah. Otherwise, I was going to describe a particular vehicle and see if they agree that that's what it was.
There's actually a specific skill which gives you bonus towards a specific specialty which gives you bonus towards identifying enemy hardware. It's a recon skill. There's a recon specialty which does that actually.
Okay, then let's make it recon then.
Okay. Yeah. Can I use investigator roll recon when you spend you're going to spend a stretch to do it though, investigating a scene of a crime or battle now, so I'll just roll recon.
If you want to spend 6 hours here investigating this,
grilling this poor family.
Okay,
one success
is all you need. You aren't entirely familiar with what they're describing because it's so new, but it does sound like it is a ZBD04 Type 4 Chinese IFV. This is a fresh, new... It's based off of the BMP3 chassis, but it's China's newest pride.
But it has a mounted gun of some type.
It does have a 100 millimeter rifled gun and a follow-up of anti-tank missiles and 7.62 coaxial machine gun.
Okay.
The problem, of course, is that it weighs 20 tons,
Yeah.
which is way beyond what the ferry could carry.
Yeah, that's a serious little piece of hardware, that is.
Fortunately, it's stuck on the other side of the room. Okay.
For now.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking we send Luke to swim across, get the ferry. We'll cover him from this side. If they come back, we just get the ferry over here and then we disable it. Not permanently, but take the fuel out. We get this family and the fuel away, and we just leave the ferry disabled.
Well, I'm asking them, it's without the outboard motor, presumably you can still pull the ferry using the cable, right? It just slows it down without the motor.
The woman exchanges a conversation with her husband, and he nods to agree that the cabling could still be used to pull something across.
So what gives it buoyancy? Is it got like air bladders to give it buoyancy?
Oh boy, James, this is like that time where I got 95% of the things done for the air pirate mission, and then you were like, but what about the stall speed? I hadn't even considered this, James. You know what? Let me ask you, what sounds best for a 4-car capable carrying ferry that sees regular use?
So I mean, like it would either be something that's got a flat bottom hull so that it's, whatever its materials are would remain buoyant, or it would have some sort of pontoons.
I think pontoons probably, because it's very cinematic.
Okay, so I mean, if you wanted to disable it not permanently, you could drain some of the pontoons of air so it no longer has enough buoyancy. But that's not you would need a compressor to refill it then. You couldn't blow it up by hand.
I think the bigger issue is ask them, if we bring this over here and disable it, could the family members on the other side repair it?
They indicate that they have a compressor on this side, and that the only person who lives on the other side is their uncle, their father's younger brother. He may have the capability to repair it, but he definitely doesn't have, there's no fuel over there. Like the South Bank is the main office.
Yeah, but these are...
I mean, they've got tanks.
These people,
exactly.
They've
got access to fuel.
Yeah.
So I think
we need to get it over on this side. Yep.
Take the fuel out, disable it, and make sure it's not going to be used. And maybe bring the cables over this side as well. Cut the cable on the other side. Bring it over with the ferry. Well, sorry. Bring the ferry over. Go back over again. Cut the cable. Bring the cable back over here.
We can cut the cable from this side and then just pull it across. Like, we don't need to go back over to cut the cable that side. Like, there's a cable both sides. Just cut it on this side.
You can tell that the two of them, while you guys speak quietly with each other, the two of them are speaking quietly with their father about how long it's going to take to repair all of the things that you're about to break. It's like we're going to be down for weeks probably. I mean, yeah, we can get the air back in the pontoon, but who knows what they're going to monkey up. And then, the father's like, fuck these invading pigs. I hope they don't die. My brother, where's my brother? And the young man, again, in French, but the wife translates for him. He's like, Father, you have to calm down. We'll get uncle back, okay? Enrique will be just fine as long as you remain calm. And the father's like, no, but if we disable the ferry, who knows? They could get upset and kill Enrique.
I'll ask, do you have a photograph of your uncle so we can help identify him?
Oh, look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. So the man lying on the table.
Someone should write a song like that in a few years' time.
My good friend, Chet Krogar. He's French-Canadian, I think, so maybe one day he'll stop by here. He holds up a photograph. This is the father holds up a photograph of probably 5 or 10 years ago. It's a Polaroid, instant flicky type, and it's these 3 people plus a 4th person all standing like on the boat cutting a ribbon that's like 60 years in service. Someone who looks mayoral in nature, wearing a fine hat that has upturned sides and a nice suit, but he's a little short, kind of almost got leprechaun-y vibes to him, is helping them use a giant pair of scissors to cut this. You could see the uncle in the picture very clearly, although again, it could be 5 or 10 years old.
I'm glad you gave us this Polaroid because I was worried he was going to point at a picture on the wall that we were going to smash and take the picture out of.
I mean, he took it out of
Okay.
the holder it was.
Yeah. Can we take this so we can find him? I'll bring it back, but I think the thing with Polaroids is that they're waterproof to an extent.
Sure. Hold on, daughter. Take a Polaroid of the Polaroid just in case they lose it. No, give them the copy.
Yeah.
They take a Polaroid, and about 1 minute later, you have a grainy, low quality, 50 times reused PNG of. It's like a Reddit meme that's been around for 10 years, and the quality is so shot that everything's blurry.
Do you want to get them to write something on the back so they know to come with us?
Good idea.
All right. So on the back, the younger man writes, Enrique, you can trust these people. They're trying to help. Tariq.
Also, I was going to suggest that I don't think the lights are coming back anytime soon, so you might want to spare the fuel in the generator and turn it off.
Look, the power will be back on shortly. You can trust the people that run the island. They wouldn't leave us hanging. We're one of the most important businesses. And people around here need to know that even though things are going to shit, our ferry is still working. We're a local institution. We're very important, don't you know?
Significant NPC glance to the other guys with the it won't be working much longer.
I like the idea that they're giving each other PC glances and you're giving each other NPC glances. That is wild.
Okay. So we head across?
Yeah.
So
you said there's no fishing vessels for us to easily get across.
If you want to bike ride down the road a little bit, you could grab somebody's canoe or like a surfboard or something. It would be 20 or 30 minutes round trip.
So if I was going to quantify the difficulty of swimming myself over by myself, what would I be looking at there?
I believe that it is not a roll at all. When I was looking into this system, it assumes that you are knowledgeable in swimming and can swim with no issue, so long as you are not encumbered.
Okay.
So the real question is, how encumbered do you want to be?
Yeah, what am I taking over? What would be
I
considered
think we're going to need
encumbered?
to get a boat, though. We're going to need to get one of those canoes because at some point we've got to go over to the other side, rescue Enrique, and we're going to need to take our gear with us. We're not swimming across over there to do that. So
yeah,
either we get the boat now or we get the boat later. We're going to need the canoe.
I generally agree.
My only thought would be that getting the ferry over this side is urgent in case they come back.
Okay. Well,
I can
Luke, go over, get the ferry over here. We'll cover you from this side,
and then we can find a boat to get over there.
Okay, I'm gonna. Is it a flat roofed office? This place?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hop up onto the roof with my rifle, cover from here. You get over there.
When you say rifle, are you taking out your
sniper rifle?
Sniper rifle.
Yeah, I've bought the sniper rifle. I haven't bought the FAMAS.
Okay.
I'll look at sorry, I've forgotten your character's name. Yeah,
Cass?
Christina. No, Cass. So I'll look at Cass and I'll look at my rifle and then I'll look at her submachine gun.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not taking a rifle, I might, if it's right, use your rifle because it'll give me better range than I'll get with this.
Agreed.
So the woman goes out to turn off the generator after a discussion with her husband and her father-in-law. Based on, you can tell that she's kind of doing it on her own recognizance without their approval, simply because you've said that it would be a good idea not to, and she's watching someone hop up on top of her family's most precious building and pull a very long rifle out while lying down on it. And she's thinking maybe you'd like to do this better in the dark rather than with a giant spotlight near you.
Backlit. Is it so? Could I swim with Cass's submachine gun?
Sure. Are you bringing any sort of tools?
So no helmet or plate carrier.
Just saved yourself a ton of weight there.
Yep. So what tools will I need? So I'll chat to the.
Toolkit allows you to perform vehicle maintenance. Vehicle tools let you do the same thing, but at a +1.
I would assume they have those things here, being the primary office.
They have vehicle tools on the boat.
Okay, great. And they've explained to me how to operate it. So we're getting the through conversation. through her, through
That's
Dad?
a great
and
question. I
whilst
feel
with
like
it's moving.
they'll give you a +1 on your tech roll. How about that?
Okay. All right. So I now
They
feel
talk you through an 8-part procedure that involves going through an instruction manual in both French and English in order to get this thing turned on.
it's just the on switch. You got to pump it 3
That's-
times, turn the
The
key,
grill?
twice, then
What the
pump
fuck
it
is
4
that?
more times.
Are you Jurassic Parking me on my own show? Swim
right.
across this damn water.
Yep. But before I go, I'll get the binos out and I'll do another scan and confirm there's no movement on the other side.
The other side is dark.
Okay.
You see no movement. You
All right.
swim, you make it over to the boat. This boat looks roughly large enough to fit 4 cars on. You could see that this side has a loading ramp on the dock as well, something that folds out, comes down, and then locks in place proprietarily onto the boat. That thing is shattered. It's so the way it now folds the opposite direction, and the locking mechanism no longer works because something too heavy has rolled over it. You can also see that the boat appears to have some minor hull damage from the back end essentially like dipping down as something too heavy rolled onto the boat.
Can I tell a quick aside story?
Yeah, of course.
You can imagine how heavy a forklift is, right? Because obviously it's got to counterbalance the weight of it was picking up. Company I went to, we had a forklift and we were driving it in the car park of the company. The forklift had like a little sort of edge sort of metal piece that protected you from getting your foot under a wheel, and that edge metal piece got stuck in the grate of a storm drain. And we just needed to like rock the forklift out of the edge so we could then move it, but it was stuck there, and we'd run the battery flat trying to just drive it out. So someone came up with the idea of using a car jack to just try and lift the forklift up like an inch just to get it out of the groove so we could then move it out. So we started to jack it up, and we got like it maybe half an inch up, then the entire jack just like folded like tinfoil. That's what I'm imagining happened to this ramp.
Yeah, that's very accurate. Catastrophic destruction.
Yeah. And instantaneous.
Yeah.
Bit like that bridge.
Oh boy, let's
like,
not talk about the bridge. That's a rough one. You get on board and begin making your way to the center pylon that has all of the buttons and mechanisms. The cableage runs through a mast at the top of this pillar of diesel engines and exhausts and buttons and knobs. And I'd like you to make a tech roll at +1. You'll also get another +1 from vehicle tools.
While he's rolling that, I'll tell you that the good end of the story is that we used our neighbor's forklift to lift our forklift out in the end.
Ah, yes, of course. Double forklift situation. So this roll is going to cover everything. It's getting the ferry to the other side, disabling the cable, removing the fuel. All of that's on this roll. So just don't roll badly.
Yeah, no pressure, Chris.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is push.
I'm not saying you have to push. You do have to push, though. Yeah, for sure you need to push on that.
Yeah, on a 12 and a 10, yeah, we're pushing. There
Okay.
we go.
That was a great
Woo.
push. Although you are stressed now, like very stressed. Look, the whole operation basically depends on your technical expertise. And 2 superior officers and an old man are all watching you, judging your every movement. But
Yep.
following instructions and then very briefly triple consulting them after something doesn't work right. You pump 4 times to get the engine started, get it over to the other side, and begin draining the fuel out of it as you cut the cabling. I don't know if there's a specific other thing you want to do to disable this, like remove a key piece of hardware. Of course, you're emptying the ballast tanks, with putting in, I guess, seawater, in order to weigh it down and keep it from being able to be moved. Is there any other key piece of mechanism you want to remove here?
Take out all the spark plugs.
The solenoid switch. Okay.
I mean, I think we've clarified that like disabling the motor doesn't actually have that much impact on it. It just slows the whole process down.
Yep, which is what we're looking for. But sorry, Arthur, if I may, to set some context for that role. I have a feeling that like I do the procedure and nothing happens and it just chugs out. And then I stress myself trying to get it going again. And now I'm just like, I'm borderline about to flood it as I'm turning it. And I just go, cunt, and then I just hit it with a hammer, swing a hammer and hit it, and it chokes into life, and I just start laughing maniacally because there's a diesel engine running now.
American piece of shit, Russian piece of shit, both made in Taiwan. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie.
Yep. And
you know that
I chug across with a great big grin on my face. All you see is my white teeth.
The majority of references to hitting electronics with a hammer and making them work again are either from something that are loosely seated or from back in the old days where the copper plating would like whatever the copper version of rusting is, and then you'd hit it and it would knock loose the crappy gum on the copper and make it work again.
I think it's oxidization for copper.
That's definitely one of the things that can happen to copper.
I'm a strong believer in percussive therapy for technology. So
yeah, sometimes it goes in the opposite direction. It makes things less useful. Show me percussive therapy on a USB drive that works correctly.
Yesterday, my mother asked me to try and help her open a window in her house, which had not been opened in 10 years. And it's one of those ones where you turn a crank and like a little chain pushes the window out. And we just trying to turn the crank and it wouldn't. And so I used all my force to turn it, and the chain just snapped. So the window being secured closed was stronger than the tensile strength of the chain. So
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that's either paint or the power of what's it called when wood expands when it's wet?
Swelling.
Expansion.
Expansion. Sure.
Yeah.
I was going to go with the slow movement of time, making the square thing no longer square, and now a rhombus. Anyway,
what do you want to do now that you've partially disabled this vehicle and removed all the fuel from it? The older man looks better, but he does not look well.
Is there any more that I could do for him?
I mean, you have a doctor's medical kit. You don't have a defibrillator, AED on you, and like a full ER workup to be like, okay, this guy will be okay or not okay. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a chest X-ray.
But if you've got like a like you could at least have like a saline drip. If you've got if he's like if you've got like a combat medics kit.
I see. We're giving him the influencer treatment where you solve all problems by giving him a vitamin K infused saline drip to solve all of his hangovers.
Well, more a case of you could use it to like do like long service blood thinners.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think I've got aspirin, so I'll just.
You have pain relievers, so I assume you have aspirin. Yes.
Yeah. Well, a little jar, twice a day.
You leave him some aspirin. And
yep.
He seems like he trusts you and begins acting like this is all he needs to do is to just take his nitroglycerin and he'll be fine. And you could tell that his son and daughter-in-law are like, we need to get you to a hospital, father.
Yeah, if he's been prescribed nitroglycerin, I assume there's a doctor they take him to regularly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That doctor is way farther south on the island, which isn't a problem when the roads are completely open and, cars are working.
Well, he won't be working from here in the near future. So now's a good time to go get some help.
I'm going to need someone to make a persuasion roll to convince the elderly man, whose name is Francois, to abandon his family's ancestral holdings. I know I'm saying ancestral holdings to refer to a small ferry terminal and their nearby house, but he clearly defends this like it's his entire life.
All right, I'll give it a go.
So before you roll, just note you can receive up to +2 with your friends helping you, but they do need to actually help you.
But they don't speak French.
You're right. That does slow this down quite a bit.
I do.
I speak French, just not very well.
Yeah, I know. Je suis désolé.
You've exceeded my capacity for French.
Je suis as I am.
Are you? Well, hold on. Are you about to Moulin Rouge me on my own show? Is that movie even out yet? Well, it's 2001. You can't. No. You can't make that reference here.
Hey. First off, the bit of French they quote at the start of Lady Marmalade has been around since like 1918 from like a musical.
Okay, but it was made famous by the role.
No, it's a well-known line. I mean, I don't even know the full line, but it's certainly been around since like the early age of musicals.
All right.
But yeah. But anyway,
And Luke William is obviously a fan of early age musicals. I mean,
It's got a signed Stephen Sondheim portrait.
I assume psyops get a bonus to perception for changing someone's mind on a particular issue.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Mhm.
You feel like you're psyopsing me on this, but yeah, sure. Jesus. Ooh,
Look,
yikes.
I think I better for this guy's sake, I better push.
There
Okay,
we
one
go.
success.
Crawled across the line with that 6.
All right. Can we? Because we're going to take some stuff now.
Oh, let me just be very clear here. This is like a 30-minute long argument entirely in French.
Yeah, that's right. And he nearly moved from an asset into a liability. So
Yeah, he is.
yeah.
He is having trouble sitting up during this argument, but he is red in the face and gesticulating as best possible. Half the time, he's like trying to prop himself up on his side so that he can face you better, and then just collapses back on his back and continues to argue with the ceiling at you.
I keep trying to grab his hand to keep trying to like check his pulse.
Like,
And then
get your
I was
hands
like,
off me! I'm
I know,
fine.
then
I'm
I was-
fine.
And then
I have the strength of 10 bears.
I take more of the pills. No. Don't take them now. Not now. Tomorrow morning.
It's fine. If I just double my nitroglycerin dose, I'll feel twice as good.
You might blow up, but sure. Come on.
How do you propose moving these 3 people further south with you?
Do they have a car? Ask them.
They have a Toyota. They have a Toyota and it has some fuel left in it.
Would it be enough to drive to Cyrus's place?
Let's call it a Toyota Corolla. Oh, is it enough to make it to Cyrus's place 8 kilometers away? Yeah, easy mode.
Okay.
Can it
How
get
about
to
we
the
get them
doctor?
there? Then
Can it
we-
get to the doctor? I mean, the doctor is... Don't worry, I'm going to edit out the part where I spend all my time here looking for how far away the village of Hyene is. The doctor is 8,435. Oh, no, that's 400 meters, not 4. The doctor is almost 40 kilometers south. So I'm going to make a roll. It's a D12 to see how many liters or whatever the system uses. I rolled a 1. It is enough to get to Cyrus's house, and that's about it.
Okay.
They really drove this thing down to the wire here.
And I assume that it's petrol and the generator's diesel. So
The generator is diesel, and the
Car
the
is-
ferry is also diesel.
Okay, we'll take all the fuel that we've unloaded out of everything, put it in the back of this car, tell him to drive to Cyrus's. He'll help them.
Okay.
he'll give them petrol for diesel. My only point here, sorry, before this gets passed on, I'll just be like, do we want to be careful about them knowing that Cyrus is working with us and that's where the diesel is? Because if they come back here and they get coerced by this organization, they might give up Cyrus.
You said Cyrus's name already in this conversation before now.
Yeah, but Cyrus is a name rather than going to the actual house and location.
How many Australian expatriate
Yeah, all right.
gun-owning lunatics do you feel live? You've
Who
seen
live in
about
Hawaiian
12
shirts.
houses between here and Cyrus's house.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. That ship sailed.
Look, if I was to mention the name of a particular Polish guy who wanders around shirtless in his front yard in my part of Delaware, people would know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
You better hope he doesn't watch this show. He's gonna
He
get
doesn't
offended.
watch the show. Nobody watches the show. It hasn't even been released yet. We haven't even released episode 1. We do have over 650 views on the cinematic briefing trailer, though, which is more views than most of my shows have on episode 1, which is absolutely wild. It's crazy it's so viewed considering no one has ever heard any of us on. It's just with AI voices.
Out of interest, it was A Streetcar Named Desire was a musical that Bolivar Cochet came from.
All right.
Yeah. But it was before it was used by American soldiers going to World War II to try and get French girls to sleep with them.
Of course it was America.
America sampling salt culture wherever they go.
I have so many follow-ups to that I'm just not gonna just
Oh,
gonna
you didn't-
let that one go.
Oh, you didn't.
When- when-
oh,
when-
you didn't like
when-
that. You didn't like that lure? No, okay. I'll wind
We're not,
it
here
in
to talk,
again.
we're not here to talk about American culture.
All right, let's get out of here. I assume we can ride back a little bit more leisurely now. I'm also going to assume that we can't fit two burly men and a very capable woman in this vehicle with our bikes, with these three people trying to get to a
There's
hospital.
no way you
So,
can fit 6 people
No.
and 3
No.
bikes. No.
not a clown car.
In a 1990 Toyota Corolla. No.
Okay. Are we? So the question
Now,
now
look,
for
if
us,
you want to get real frisky, you probably have rope or bungee cords somewhere on your person that you could tie to the toe on the back of this thing and have them pull you at like 40 miles an hour.
well, Arthur, given that I face planted immediately. No, I don't feel quite that
I'm just saying,
daring.
if you want to go bogan, I feel like being drawn by a car on a bike is like pretty close. That's some West Virginia behavior. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I'm just waiting for like a big thunderstorm, and that being that 2 inches of water over everything, and then I'll get on a boogie board with a rope tied to the back of a car and get pulled around the streets.
You mean a wakeboard, right?
No, just a foam covered in plastic boogie board for $8 from Walmart. You feel it? Do you feel it in your bones?
Yeah, I do. I've seen it.
I could feel bones breaking when I look at that picture.
Okay.
So are we moving? The question now is, are we moving from here north to recover, or are we going to take a break?
I mean, I think
I think we move now.
Because we're pushing into the next shift, would you say, Arthur?
No, you're only about halfway through the shift. If you want to stop and take a break, that's fine. But once I've been on rails with you so far, when we get to the end of this shift, I'm handing the keys over to you. This is pretty much the end of the tutorial with solving the ferry crisis. So where you go from here is your choice. You've got about 3 hours left before your evening shift ends and we move into the night shift, as it were.
Before they leave, can they tell us where his house is, where Henrique's house is?
Luke saw the house when he saw him over. Yes. It, like their house on this side, the younger brother's house is built right on the end of it.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that nobody's there. I didn't see anybody, didn't hear no signs of life on the other side. So they've been taken. What's the next? How far north is the next village where they would have likely moved to?
I mean, likely
I'm
moved
asking,
to?
Yeah, is like I assume some distance north will be a small fishing village at least somewhere, or a group of houses.
Unfortunately, it is a long way to go on the east side before you hit anything but houses that directly abut the coastline. So maybe a kilometer away, there's a collection, not even like a village, of 7 or 8 houses, but it is quite a trip further up the RPN 3 before you even hit something like a school.
Yep, seen.
How the hell do we find him?
I mean, they brought a tracked APC down here. I feel it would be easy to track that APC back up.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good bet.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
They don't treat roads well.
I don't think that we have the tools to affect anything more than an M kill on something like that. What do you think?
Agreed.
Yeah. But I think our plan is to not fight it directly, is to get in there, find this guy, get him, get out before they even know he's missing.
Yeah. I mean, look, I said disabling that vehicle would be advantageous, I think, overall. We don't know if it's one. We don't know if we've got more than one though as well. They've got a whole convoy, and that's a whole different story.
Still, taking one out is probably a good move.
Yeah.
We've got a WP grenade. We can just drop it in a hatch and let it do its business. I mean, it's not going to destroy it, but it's certainly going to make it unusable.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get some fishing boats then and get our kit over and the bikes.
Do we want to take the bikes over?
I think it'll speed up our movement.
I don't know if we want to be traveling on the road. Do we want to be traveling off the road though once we're up there? Because at some point a group of partisans are going to be coming back down the road. So I almost think that we're better off humping it once we're over there.
Yeah, I think we leave the bikes on
Good
this
call.
side.
Yeah.
We just get to the other side and we just stay to the side of the road, just in the tree line. We just track that way.
Plus, I'm just imagining trying to get 2 like racing bikes across the river on a canoe with 3 people.
Well, you can't leave the wolf and the sheep in the same boat while you're doing that.
I think we leave the bikes on this side. And rather than try and swim in, like travel in the canoe, we just put our gear in the canoe and we use the canoe as a means to move it across, and we swim across with the canoe.
Yep. All right, that's what we do. Well, first I'm gonna have a look around, and because always eat when you can eat. Any snacks? Any snacks in this office?
Yeah, good call.
A little bit of foraging.
I don't know that energy bars are popular at this time. I think you're
Pemmican?
gonna find little.
Pemmican?
Yes, they
Pemmican?
home make pemmican for you, of course.
No. You know what there will be? Almost certainly, Arthur. Dried fish. There will be
Biltong jerky.
jerky.
Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, like, if they're a service area, do they have like a little kiosk where you can get like, you know?
Oh yeah, they have a vending machine, but all the vending machine are fake French snacks of the 1990s. So it's like Le Bear Gourmet, and it's multicolored rainbow bears, like peanuts, and it has a cartoon figure whose name is Monsieur Peanut. He has a monocle on the other side of his face and a Monopoly Man top hat and a cane, and he's like, yeah.
Sounds good. Handful of peanuts and a can of Coke.
I'm going to have to correct you here, Arthur. I think that based on the logistics of global transportation, that places like New Caledonia would get all their snack foods from Indonesia or Australia. They wouldn't ship it around the world just because they're a French colony. That would
I
be
don't know. They're French.
stupidly expensive just to show a bit of patriotism.
You tell me what Australian export snacks of the 1990s you find inside this.
Burger rings and
Yep.
What? No, we can't say that one. So it's low Ritos. They're low. We can't infringe upon the copyright. All right.
All right. So there's burger hoops, not burger rings. Then
What are
Burger
these burger rings you're talking about? I've never heard of this.
Google it.
I'm afraid to now.
It's
afraid
just,
what it's going to be is a dried piece of meat in the form of a hoop.
No,
It's just potato chips or crisps or
Big
whatever the fuck
burger
you call them.
taste party
Burger-
bag.
Burger rings are a type of corn-based, burger-flavored Australian snack food distributed by the Smith Snack Food Company.
Which is in turn owned by PepsiCo. Great. We're just all right. Please don't sue me.
And they're vegan, apparently. There you go. They're made out of corn.
They're made
and
out of
rice.
corn. Yeah.
So,
Nothing,
Just
Quite
more
nothing
proof
even
that
close to a burger has ever been within a kilometer of the factory or the food, so it's all safe.
just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy.
now, AP, can I sell to you that burger hoops is a childhood favorite of mine? And as I stick them on my fingers and bite them off, leaning against the wall, thinking about all the shenanigans, that I have a little decompression moment and feel good about the fact that I saved a life.
You
And
do
he's gonna-
feel good, but if
is he
you
right?
are trying to angle for minus stress, no. You
I-
need to
I still
rest or
take-
sleep.
I'm still taking the moment.
Okay.
Taking the moment.
You do relive your childhood of eating crappy junk food made entirely out of corn, which is something you share with America, I guess.
And I'll think about my motivation of save who you can, help who you can.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, all right. He got there.
I had 2 lines of attack.
You munch upon these crispy, supposedly burger flavored corn chips, and you feel a little bit better about yourself. You look in a mirror, and despite everything, you're still you.
A little bit of humanity has come back. And I'm also incredibly thirsty and have an uncontrollable urge for a Pepsi, and I don't know why.
Locked behind the vending machine, you can see that there is a delicious flat bottle of Pepsi with an expiration date dangerously close to today's date of November 5th.
Well, here's a question: checking does the house have running water still? Like, is the water system still flowing at the moment?
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume at this time and place there probably isn't town water. I would assume most people are on tank, given that there's so much rain. They wouldn't need very large tanks.
Yeah.
Welcome to the backcountry.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now that we've refueled and had a cinematic moment, let's have
Mike,
a comedy
just in case there's
trying to get across.
if there's a
Trying to get
Pepsi
across the
band
river.
product you would like to rep on the show and hold up its logo close to the camera of our movie.
No,
James, same question. Just
Well,
you did
No,
the burgers.
Yeah.
No,
But I mean, at this point in time, Pepsi owned Pizza Hut and Kentucky Fried Chicken as well. So before they divest it to Yum Restaurant Brands.
Oh my goodness.
I reckon Fulston looks at me eating that trash food, and it's just like, that's gonna kill you. It's garbage. Not how a man would feed himself. He's just chewing on the dry, leathery piece of fish. Just like that can't fuel you properly.
Yeah. Empty calories. Empty calories.
Yeah. There we go.
It's going to get you fatter. Not fat, fatter.
I do that sad. I do like a sad look and like pinch my stomach. Like, this is fat. We cut to swimming across a river, trying not to drown.
Okay. I mean, I am going to need a roll if all three of you are going over with full gear.
No, the gear's in the canoe.
Oh, I see. So you are going to go back to steal somebody's canoe and then...
We're going to have to steal someone's canoe.
Okay. You make your way east about 10 minutes back to the last house that you saw on the ride up here. You begin rooting around in somebody's open garage and you hear a sound from inside the house. After a few minutes of that, you can hear someone calling out in French, "Who's there? What are you doing out there? I have a knife."
I think we should just keep operating. Just ignore them. They come out. They can see they're not.
If they come out,
I can hear you talking out there. I know you can hear me.
Lift shirt to be like, go back inside.
Just grab what we need. Ignore the dude.
No one comes outside. And several minutes later, you, with your canoe that the three of you have transported via bikes, take the bikes and you're leaving the bikes here. You're transporting the gear in the canoe and you're swimming across and you reassemble on the far side.
I don't even leave the bikes in his garage, but I think that we'd like dump the bikes somewhere, off the beaten track.
And you bury it, and then you make sure no one marks the location you bury it at. Yeah. I know how you do things, James.
Yeah. And the good news is the guy will call 911, so he won't get any help that way.
Call 911 with what? With what working phone service?
Arthur is like gagging for us to kill civilians, it seems.
No.
He keeps
reasonable consequences of stealing an object from... Listen, if I wanted you to kill civilians, this man would be American. And when you rooted through his garage, he would show up with a shotgun and not ask questions. Look, you have big dreams, you have moral codes, and those things need to be put to the test. Right now, you're playing pretty fast and loose, not only with moral codes, but with the actual law. You are just stealing things out of people's garages at 8 o'clock at night. And look, this is outlining to the audience your hardened mercs who are willing to do whatever it takes, okay? Do I want you to attack civilians? Yes, but not this random guy at his garage. I want you to attack the civilians who are carrying Chinese pistols and going, "Communism forever!"
He wants us to spec up the line this scene.
Oh man, what a great game! You want me to choose, Colonel?
All right,
what a game!
Star wipe and we're across.
Okay, you are across. You reassemble. You get all of your gear together. What would you like to do from here? It's starting to get pretty late. You're pushing around 11 o'clock. At about that point, you're going to need to make a decision as to whether you're going to continue operating all night long or whether you're going to try to make camp somewhere.
Well, it's going to be easier for us to move unseen at night, given that night vision is very sparse in this time period, let alone this particular, location.
Can't see a bunch of civilians armed up with night vision gear.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it also slows our progress too, though. Like you travel slower when it's dark than you do when it's light. But
we can,
if we're looking to extract this, Enrique, then doing it at night time is probably easier. But that means that we need to rest during the day tomorrow.
We got to lay up.
That's okay.
Because if we don't find him before day or whatever, we can always find an OP location and set up and go in shifts, resting and watching. At least then we can start getting some intel on what's around.
I assume we swap weapons back, by the way, Chris?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a recon roll at a -2 to track the APC at night. Now, that -2 can, of course, be negated with the use of night vision goggles, but you guys have been pretty judicious at not using those.
No, I'll break them out for this.
They have that Gen 1 night vision squeal turning on.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That wasn't even close to the noise.
The whistly whine.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Chat. Viewers, make the noise in chat.
There's so many different versions of that onomatopoeia.
In the YouTube comment section.
That's right. Yep.
What we need you to do, audience, we need you to record a React video to this video, upload it to YouTube and React of you verbally making the noise.
Okay. Don't encourage React videos, AP, because eventually you'll find that the React videos get more hits than the original video gets, and you'll get upset.
I'm already upset that our cinematic briefing video has more views than 99% of my videos.
That's because the cinematic briefing is like 5 minutes. You need to make more of your games 5 minutes or less. Then you're done. More people will watch them.
I'm playing a single hand of poker every single video.
Okay.
Here, so I put Jersey Mike in the ground, but not folding on an ace-3 combination.
Okay, so I'm going to go recon with night vision on.
Can we assist him in this?
Any other modifiers?
If you use your night vision, you can assist in this.
Let's only risk one night vision unit.
Okay, that is a success.
One success.
You can see that almost immediately, within a kilometer, the vehicle has off-roaded and gone uphill into the mountains, which is a very difficult climb nearby.
But a very easy track for a tracked APC to go off-road.
As you're looking at it, you can see that there are also tire marks of numerous cars that went off-road here, and this is not a location that looks like it sees regular traffic. You know, like someone decided to off-road here, period, this one time.
Okay. All right. So you said there's the terrain runs up?
Yes. So if you are looking down the road, you are looking northeast, the mountain is northwest of you, and it sharply begins to climb in elevation when you are not alone.
Okay. So ultimately, feet will always beat any vehicle when it comes to being able to access terrain. So wherever it's gone, we can get to. The question is, we would know this is probably going up to some form of a hide or a harbor.
Yeah, and there'll be no way for us to infiltrate us insofar as like anyone that sees us will know we're not supposed to be there.
Yeah. And we would know that we would put our biggest gun pointing down the tracks we made into our harbor. So we can't just use the track. We can't just continue walking on their track to get in. And I'm going to assume the vegetation is quite thick, so we will effectively be in the harbor unless there's like a fire or light or something in there, which, you know, at 11, 12 o'clock at night, people, like, even if they're lax, that's probably been put down and they've gone to bed, and there's one person on a stag or a fire picket or something. So
if there's multiple vehicles out there, you're talking about a considerable group of people.
Yeah.
And they're not soldiers; they are armed civilians. So I would think that, like, I think there's a fairly good chance we'll get some sort of light blue as we get closer. But
certainly with the night vision goggles, we'll know that pretty quickly.
But okay. I agree that we don't just walk right up the tracks. We need to find some way to circle around.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we take the high side? So at least we get if we take the path. So we pick on this track going up the hill, I would say that we pick the higher side of the track as the one that we walk up, so that then at least we've got, if we accidentally stumble our way into it, at least we've got the advantage of height and we can spill back down this way.
Sounds
or
good.
Go up and away from the vehicles.
Okay. After a climb that leaves the three of you starting to sweat and feeling the exertion, you correctly surmise that you want to be on the high side. You make your way over a lip on the rising mountainside, and you can see that on the other side there is a bowl-shaped depression, the center of which sits the APC that was called out to you, the ZBD-04IFE. That has a series of 2 tents next to it, which have little flags of the People's Liberation Army. You're able to see it at this distance because it is at the center of a camp that is surrounded by 6 other tents that look like civilians who are up drinking, sharing beers, They have several fires going and are cooking things in the fires. The Chinese soldiers who are in the center area guarding their IFV seem annoyed and cautious. There are no roaming patrols. At the very eastern edge of this bowl-shaped depression, there is one person with a rifle who is looking northeast out, looking down on like a small series of like 12 houses, probably a kilometer or two down the hill. As you are processing all of this, you see someone wrap an arm around somebody's shoulder and clink a beer together. And you are looking at someone who has not been taken hostage. You are looking at Enrique, who appears to be getting along with the people in this camp.
He's one of them. Okay, pull out the binoculars. Let's have a good look.
Okay, I'm gonna need a recon roll. I feel like I keep saying this. This takes place at night. The area is lit, so as long as you're looking anywhere but at the IFV and the Chinese tents, you'll do it without penalty. If you want to get a look at the PLA stuff, I'm gonna need a -2 on this.
I'm going to look at the rest of the stuff first. Scout all that out.
No. This is one roll. You got to make your decision ahead of time.
Okay, I'll use the binoculars. I'll have a look at everything, including the Chinese.
Okay, -2, but you'll get a good picture on the success.
But the binoculars give a +2?
Correct.
So it's just a flat roll. Okay.
Okay, Fulston. From a crouch, you begin looking over the area. You note the following things. There are probably 12 people here. They are all men. They appear to be the local Canardian people. The only one who's like European Caucasian is Enrique. All of them have FLNCS armbands, including Enrique. They don't even all have guns. Most of them have pistols. Enrique has some sort of old bolt-action rifle. The PLA soldiers have modern 5.56 assault rifles. There are 4 of them. One of them seems to be establishing a sort of fire watch position while the others are resting or preparing to go into their tents to sleep. The IFV is being kept on standby, like it's ready to go. The engine is idling, and the machine gun at the top and the coaxial gun at the top is loaded and ready to go. Like you can see the belt magazine.
Is there an officer amongst them, or is it all like non-com?
I think you see only non-coms, no one with any sort of officer rank badge. As you're looking at the civilian rebel population here, there does seem to be someone who is more in charge than the others. It's the man who wrapped his arm around Enrique first. He's a taller Canardian, kind of Pacific Islander, dark skin. He's got very deep set eyes, and he's got the thing where the underneath of your eyes sags down really far. And like, despite being kind of thin, he's got unusually jowly jowls. I feel like I said that right. He is carrying a very large pistol that is out of place with everyone else. It looks like some sort of Israeli Desert Eagle or maybe a knockoff of some kind. It looks like a 50 cal pistol, like massive, huge. And unlike everyone else stuffing them in their pants or waistband or something, he has it in a shoulder holster. Someone who looks like they know what they're doing. As you're looking closer, you can see that he has a tattoo on his hand that indicates that he served in the French Foreign Legion.
And there'd only be a handful of people here that know how to operate that vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 4 of them. Yeah.
The agitated one standing around it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know if there's more inside the vehicle if it's in there.
So I'm saying this recon roll takes place over several minutes.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you are confident that there is one person standing fire watch over the vehicle and the camp, and the remaining 3 people are either in the tents sleeping or outside, like resting, like getting chow or something.
Okay, let's scoot down out of sight, and then let's have a little talk about what we're going to do.
Okay.
Sorry, and the APC was like in the very center of the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They are using the locals as a shield.
Yeah. So what are you thinking, Major?
I'm thinking we're not rescuing him because he's not kidnapped. He's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
So the question then is, do we do anything? And if we do, what do we do? So I think we need to do something to get rid of that APC. Because at some stage we're going to have to come back over to this side, and not having it floating around is only going to be good things, because it may take it a couple of days, but it can get around to the other side of the island and go over the bridge without the ferry. The ferry's just a quicker means for it to move. So either we deal with it now, or we're going to have to deal with it later. And if we don't deal with it now, we're not going to be able to deal with it until later, because it's not going to be here.
The advantage we've got right now is that the crew are out of it. So
yeah,
but then the issue with like if we started shooting from an elevated position with silenced weapons, we've got the advantage. But they
only for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, they're just going to start fanning. They're just going to start the area.
The other option is to create a diversion. Maybe start a fire down in those small houses. Get them to. They're not all going to get up and everyone move down to investigate, but some of them will. They'll probably start preparing the vehicle, although it looks pretty prepared already.
Yeah, I feel like if they get any sort of alert, they're gonna man the vehicle.
Yeah, he's also obviously the leader of these rebels at the moment. Looks like French Foreign Legion.
Yeah,
I think if we take him out, the rebels become a non-issue. But the soldiers and the fact that there's Chinese soldiers here makes it pretty clear what's going on. That this is an occupation. They're just using the rebels to do their dirty work for them. So, thoughts? Anyone? Do we just pop the crew from here and then retreat and just call it job done? Because take out enough of that crew, that thing isn't going anywhere.
You can't see it, audience, but everyone's kind of looking around, a little nervous at the idea of engaging 16 people in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
it's not even that. It's just if we don't, there's 100 mil rifle cannon.
HE frag rounds.
Yeah. We will get lit up hard and fast the moment that somebody gets in that thing. And we're assuming there isn't somebody sitting in it right now.
That is a problem. The bigger problem for this game system is that machine gun will suppress you. And getting suppressed is real bad.
Yeah.
If we attack, we'll have to spread out around the lip and attack from 3 different angles. So that they can't suppress all 3 of us at the same time.
They're going to take a report back to their superiors. There were dozens of them. They were so many firing on us from
all sides.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, you could shock and awe this by like throwing grenades and then start shooting once the grenades land in the area. But like the thing is, like, if they don't panic and they actually start to like fan out and look for us, we haven't got anywhere to go to ground. It would just be a
side of
and they know the area better.
Yeah.
Retreat down the side of a open mountain towards vegetation strewn river. Swim across the river.
Question is, Luke, do you think your grenade launcher could hit that cluster of tents of the LPA guys while they're outside their vehicle?
Well, is it within 150 meters? Yeah. Well, it's not yeeting when it's 40 mic.
Yeah.
It's powered yeeting.
I think we'll answer that question next time.
Yeah. No, I think the result is we're going to do something to deal with this now.
Yeah. So I think what I'm hearing, AP, is get a combat map ready.
Yes, I'm going to get a combat map ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that probably the shot is going to be minimum long, if not extreme range for the grenade launcher. Like, I might give you a bonus because you're in an elevated position, but they are set up. Yeah, they're set up a bit distant.
Yeah. I'll set up with a sniper rifle as well, and I'll just pick off anyone who tries to get in the APC. That would be my job. You guys just suppress everyone else and try and take out the soldiers.
Okay.
Why do I feel like I've fallen back in my role of artillery? I'm going to be sitting there lobbing 40 bikes.
I'll admit, I'm kind of surprised you guys went so hard on going to rescue Enrique, because it seemed like you were just going to go back to Cyrus's house. And I was like, okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going back to Cyrus's house with the family.
Yeah, we told them we'd save their uncle.
Going aggro.
Apparently we lied.
I would love if the only thing you do is you kill Enrique and everyone else is alive. That would be so poetic. Let's talk about experience points.
Sorry, was there a nephew as well? I thought there was two people.
No, it's Francois, the old man, his son Tariq, his daughter-in-law Angelique, and his younger brother Enrique.
All right, so we just drop everybody around him, and he's just standing there with a bolt action, just like, ah. It's like, don't get on that gun. Don't do it. don't get on that gun. And then we have to slot him at the last.
You participated in the game session, so you get 1 XP. Did anyone follow their moral code despite significant risk?
I'd like
I
to
think we're
that I did.
about to, but not yet.
What was the big risk?
Well, if we engage an APC with 16 dudes, I think that's a pretty big risk. But I'm just
Well,
saying we
that'll
haven't
be
done
next
that yet.
time, though. I said this
Yeah.
session. I'm
Yeah.
curious how Chris is going to sell me on this being a significant risk. Just doing your moral code is not the same thing as doing
that's
it
all
at
right.
a significant risk.
You're right. You're right. I mean, it could have gone sideways if they didn't comply or decided to try and
Sure.
jump us in the moment.
If
but
you chose to save this man's life medically while your friends were under fire,
Yep.
that's very different from saving someone while everyone is standing around watching you.
we'd overwhelmingly we've frogged our way out of the darkness with
Did you
overwhelming
risk
force.
or sacrifice something significant to realize your big dream?
No.
Nope.
No.
Did you travel through at least one hex on the travel map you've not visited before? The answer to that is it is not. It's the same hex.
Okay.
You're so close to being on another hex, but not quite yet. Did you overcome one or more dangerous events using violent or non-violent means?
I don't particularly think so.
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Did you risk your life for your PC who's your buddy? And no.
That's 1.
That's the one.
It is the 1. The great news is that you will step unit morale up by 1 because you helped someone in some material way.
Up to an A.
Yeah.
Wow, this unit's really morale.
I'm a little stressed at the moment, but
Well, friends, thanks for joining us. This has been Twilight 2000 4th edition, Operation Thunderchild. I am APGamingREAL, the referee. I'm joined as always by GrimDarkJames as Agent Cassandra Liew, LordHunger as Major William Fulston, ChrisAUS as Sergeant Luke William. Pondo the Mad is our editorial intern, and our artist is Connor Hughes with Scout Comic. We'll have another episode for you when I get done editing them and decide to upload them, which could be a while in real time, but hopefully will only be a week or 2 as far as you experience it.
Can I say one last thing?
Sure.
The credit song is Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But we can't do the guy who insulted Australia version, even though that is my favorite version of that song. Richard Cheese.
Richard Cheese, yeah.
I like his cover. What can I say? Hate the player, not the game, right?
Yeah.
That's the one. Let's hate the game, not the player.
Let's talk about post-game stuff, or if there's anything we want to say to our benevolent Patreon overlords who fund this particular excursion.